your source for all things Texas Tech. This is the Ask Level podcast from the Double T Sports Network.
Rested up and ready for Morgantown. In today's episode, we'll look ahead to the game standing in the way of Arlington for the Red Raiders, the Mountaineers' chances of playing spoiler, more playoff scenarios, Paradise not being such a nirvana for the Red Raider basketball team, and a great deal of questions we'll answer from the audience. Ask Level, as usual, brought to you by our friends at Cantex Roofing and Construction.
This is Mike Hebert, the proud owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. We've been serving West Texas for all of your residential and commercial construction needs for the past 9 years. We would love the opportunity to earn your business. Together, we are one serving you.
Alongside Chris Level, I'm Chois Woodman. Level, did you have a good bye week?
Nirvana, it was not, apparently.
No, it was not. It didn't seem so paradise-like for, at least the second game there in the Bahamas.
If we're talking basketball here, I think you got punched by an older team, a team that has been together. There's a lot of player retention in Matt Painter's program.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a road game for you. And when you are missing and they are making, and you've put in all the context of your chemistry and still a work in progress, it just wasn't a good combination. I thought you would be able to hang in that one. I did, but it just, at this point in the season, these two teams are very, very different. But these are long seasons, and this is going to be I don't want to say like necessarily a work in progress, but it just, there's a component of that it's going to take some time, and you're still, and I can't say that some of this isn't a bad thing, the way you're getting kind of handled the way you are. I think that the Illinois game was good for you. I think the Purdue game was good for you. You just hope there's a payoff, and I believe that there will be. So
Sure.
You're not guaranteed anything, and LSU won't be a tough test, but Arkansas and Duke certainly will. And and depending on when people are listening to this New Orleans team, that's coming in the day before Thanksgiving, is an interesting. You're gonna look up and they're gonna be 2-4 coming into this game.
Yeah,
they're in the midst of like a month-long road trip, but they beat TCU on their home floor. They took Mississippi State to overtime earlier this week, actually, and they should have won that game. They were up like, I think, 66-53 with about 4 minutes to go. It goes to overtime. They probably didn't get a great whistle, but they've got a really good guard named Colton Benson. So, you're getting you're getting a sneaky team there. So anyway, it's just you just need to keep with it, and it's hard right now when you're not getting results. But this is kind of what you signed up for when you put together this non-conference schedule.
Yeah, you definitely want to get tested, but Red Raiders maybe a little bit more than they've bargained for up to this point. Let's just say Tech. You said they're vastly different teams. Tech and Purdue. Tech has a lot more room for growth this year than Purdue. Over the course of the season.
I think that's a great way to put it. I mean, I think Purdue is kind of I don't want to say finished product, but you're right. There's probably much closer to their ceiling. There's just no doubt about that. And they are legit. They're very good. They're big. And when they're hitting shots like that, it's a problem. But you got pretty much every statistical category that and Grant even said after the game, he was like, man, hadn't been beaten like that in a long, long time, regardless of where he had been the head coach. But this is you're getting thrown into I always use that analogy. You're getting thrown into the deep end of the pool, and it's like if you're having a hard time paddling, you take on water a bit, and you certainly did.
But it was good prep for Big 12 play, because you've got some monster teams in this league right now. Number 2 and 3 teams reside in the Big 12, and number 9 team, and it's it should get you ready or give you the first taste at least.
I agree. I mean, and so when you get into some of these environments, it shouldn't be foreign to you because that was it was a smaller venue, but it was a road game. I mean,
Yeah.
they had 80 to 85% of the fans there, and it's in this ballroom, and they're just right on top of you. And I just think that was is a weird dynamic there. And if you go look at it, you could make now you won it, and you're not going to apologize for it, but you survived the Wake Forest game the night
Sure.
before too.
Sure.
And we may look back on that and see that that was a pretty good win
Hope so.
in time. Yeah, and that's exactly right. You certainly hope that Wake Forest continues to do their thing. So, but yeah, man.
We did get a question from Scott regarding the crowd there. It says, "Why didn't Tech fans travel very well for the Bahamas? Do you think it has to do with all the potential football travel coming up?"
And Purdue football sucks.
Fair,
So
fair.
so they've known for months it was going to suck.
Yeah.
And so I think with a lot of these things, fans only have so much money to
Hmm.
spend,
Sure.
and um, you're looking at a scenario to where you could be in Arlington, not cheap. You could be hosting a playoff game, not cheap. And then anything past that, not cheap. So I think, and it's interesting, Woodman, because
And some
I've
people level chose New York already to go see Duke, also, if that's their
and
basketball
there's
pick.
some regret there in that choice because of the impending potential conflict
Yes.
that it
Yes.
could create. Like that's just not a good situation for Texas Tech in general, but it is what it is if this is the way it plays out.
Yeah.
In that you could be hosting a playoff game that same weekend of the Duke game, but
Yeah.
football is the most important right now. It just is because these
Sure
are
it is.
stakes that you are have never matched, and this is non-conference when it relates to Texas Tech basketball. But it's just what I was going to say was is that like the both games in the Bahamas, because there were times when it wasn't looking great against Wake Forest, and then obviously it did not look good after about 5 to 8 minutes into that Purdue game. Because for years I'll have people text me or whatever, be like, "Ah, man, I can't wait for basketball to start. This football season's rough. You're just playing out the string, or you're trying to
Yep.
get bowl eligible, or whatever." And all of a sudden
Yeah.
now it's like, hey man, at least we got football. It's but yeah, don't give up on the basketball guys just yet. It's early. These are long seasons. It just got started.
Yes.
But you do have football, and you have about as meaningful football as your university has ever played
Ever.
on the cusp. So.
Yep. One more basketball question before we move on to talk football. This one comes from Tim. It says, "Is this team missing a piece, or can their problems be fixed by conference play?"
Well, I mean, there is no piece to add other than Josiah Mosley will at some point, I think, when the calendar turns to, you're getting closer there. I think late November, early December-ish would be a fairly safe assumption.
Hmm.
I think he would add some size and some depth to you. Because the problems you've got is that who's the alpha on your team? And people are going to say, well, that's JT Toppin. Well, everybody's got the only two people that have any equity here already are
Hmm.
Christian and JT, and they are by nature they're just quieter, reserved, very chill, calm personalities. This benefits them at times. But you definitely need somebody to start to speak up. You because what you're missing is you're missing a Chance McMillan.
Hmm.
That's what you're missing. You're missing somebody that holds people accountable,
Right.
that says, coach us harder, that can get to the paint and get to the rim and get to the free throw line. I think right now that you're doing a lot of settling, some of it by design,
Hmm.
but you're struggling to generate offense by getting to the free throw line,
Yeah.
and so there's some things, but. it's just going to take a bit, I think. I just don't know how long that is. And there's going to be more hiccups along the way. I think that's just part of the growth process. But and we've talked about this, but I go back to last year's team was an Elite Eight team that
Right.
that was what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes away from reaching the Final Four in their home state.
Absolutely.
They didn't really have it figured out until early January-ish. I mean, I remember, the New Year's Eve game, and you just get kind of embarrassed by UCF.
Yep.
You gave up way too many points. That was a conference game, it is a home game, and I think, but then you go into that 2 game trip to Utah, and it all kind of turned, and then you started to, Elijah Hawkins started to do his thing and all that. So, and you're still what, 5, 6 weeks away at least from kind of that time frame of the way in the calendar. So you just have some stiffer tests between now and then compared to last year's
Sure.
group.
And you can always point back to that 2019 season too. That
Oh yeah.
team didn't click until you got beat three in a row. And then there's an Arkansas game. I think there was a Kansas State game where you scored in the 40s. It was just there were some moments in that season that were you weren't there yet, and then you
Well,
found
yeah,
it.
you lost to Duke in New York.
Yeah.
The game you're talking about in Manhattan, Kansas, there was a suspension,
Hmm.
internal suspension in that game,
Yeah.
and after you played poorly and got beat, after the game is over, I remember like, hey, the plane can't get here. And so I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting because it was snowing. It was snowing
Yeah.
outside, and I thought,
Yeah.
oh, this is
I forgot about
not a
that.
this is not a good scenario.
Yeah.
And so Chris Beard's like, we're driving. I'm like, we're driving where exactly? Like, because uh, that's about a 11 or 12 hour
12-hour bus
drive
trip. Yeah.
in a car, much less a bus. So we drove to Topeka, and I remember Avery Benson sitting behind me in the deal, and you just looked out the window, and all you could see was white. That's it.
Yeah.
And it was dark, and I was like, I have no idea what we're doing, but I'm just going to say a prayer that I see the end of this. But we drove to Topeka and took off from there. That's where the plane could get to. But yeah, that was. I remember, those are the trials and tribulations that make a team, and
Sure.
you survive it, and we certainly remember that. But
No doubt. No doubt. So yeah,
and Chris Beard and Avery Benson would come back and play against you in a different uniform years later. How about that?
crazy, crazy
I
time.
know it is crazy.
All right, Level, let's shift over. You had a bye week. Did you enjoy your bye week?
Yeah, I did. I did. It was good to just be able to watch a lot of football and
Yeah.
kind of hit the reset button a bit and kind of watch everybody else stress out and beat up on each other and kind of root for certain things to happen that would potentially benefit you in the conference race. You didn't necessarily get all kinds of results, but Houston now eliminated, Cincinnati now
Yep.
eliminated. So you're getting closer, but it hasn't changed the dynamic that you got to go to Morgantown and win. And maybe by the time that you kick your game off on Saturday morning in Morgantown, it won't be that way. But as
Right.
it stands right now, you will prepare all week knowing it's a must win.
Yeah. Friday night, Arizona and Arizona State play. So that's what you're talking about there. If Arizona beats Arizona State, Texas Tech is in regardless. That's that scenario. But I mean, I've had people ask about that Level where, what scenarios, this, that. You got to win in Morgantown regardless. If you're trying to get where you want to go, if you want to have any shot at hosting or
Yeah.
those sorts of things, or even a bye, you got to win in Morgantown for that to happen.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just I think as you think about it, you would just love to have that in your back pocket. Like if for
Yes.
whatever reason, it's one of those weird deals that
Hmm.
you would just still like to know that you have a spot
Sure. Sure.
because there's a lot of weird stuff that can happen, especially in Morgantown. Um, but yeah, I think that you just have to go in there. You don't want to back into the Big 12 title game
Right.
or anything like that. But having said all that, I'll be rooting for Arizona for sure, just to know. And that probably wouldn't benefit you in some ways because ideally you want Arizona State and Utah to win. That kind of helps the old resume,
Hmm.
if you will. But that leaves you no margin for error, obviously, in Morgantown. But and let's talk about that game a little bit.
Okay.
This is a West Virginia team that here's the scary thing about them. They are limited with what they can do. They have limited personnel, and I think there's just not any one piece that just scares you. But
Yep.
here's what they do have going for them. They're going to have, I think, over 40 seniors that will go through ceremonies Saturday morning,
Hmm.
and they're playing hard. This isn't, I don't know, like UCF, I think you could kind of look over there in your last game and go, they kind of checked it in. Are they like, are they really invested? Well, it appears Rich Rod's guys are definitely playing hard and trying to do what they can with what they have.
Hmm.
And the other thing that makes you a bit nervous is Rich Rod. He's a really good coach, and he's just now back, and I think very motivated to get that thing turned around. And they're playing their best football right now, and it's crazy because they're 4-7, okay, but two of those wins are against 8-win teams, against Pitt and Houston.
Yeah.
So they have figured it out and beaten two really good teams, and they did it. One of them was really ugly against Pittsburgh. They're playing three or four quarterbacks. They're just kind of they turned it over a bunch, but they just figured it out. And the other one, they go to Houston and they just hammer Houston running the football, just ran it right at them. And then this last game against Arizona State, they can't run it at all. And they throw their quarterback, their freshman quarterback, throws for over 300, and they had a 75-yard pass play. And but Rich Rod after the game, he was like, we couldn't run it this far. And I'm just holding my hands up for those that aren't watching. That is like we had like 6 or 7 chances, couldn't get this far, and like he was disgusted.
Yeah.
So there's just not a lot on paper that worries you about this game, but the intangible of the weather, the
Hmm.
the head coach, and the fact that they are playing hard makes you a bit, gives you some pause. So
So this plays right into this question from Jay. It's two-parter. Says, Level, what are the level of your nerves heading into this game, and what scenarios could there be where Texas Tech actually loses in Morgantown?
well, the ball bounce is funny, and this is going to be one of those games where I think you will have to, one, not play your normal game. If you play semi close to what you have done defensively and offensively, I think it's just too much for West Virginia to overcome.
Hmm.
They give up a lot through the air. They do take the ball away some, but they're giving up like 30 points a game, and so defensively, there's just not a lot there. And offensively, it's a freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
They've lost one of their other. I mean, they've had a cluster of injuries at quarterback and at running back. So Scotty Fox is a junior that is playing pretty well, and
Yep.
he's a lot of moxie,
Hmm.
kind of guy. And but they've lost another running back for the season, so they're down to their third or fourth string running back. I think
Yeah.
they lost one of their players in at Arizona State for the season. So Cam Vaughn is a receiver that is kind of their playmaker, but again, there's just not a lot personnel wise that. So this is just about your focus and don't turn it over, don't take too many chances, and you hate to go into games like that because see they can take all the chances they want. They can go for it on fourth down whenever they want. There is no other game for West Virginia after this year, and they're at home and the whole thing. So it's a bit weird dynamic to be in, but on paper, I get why the spread is. Vegas thinks this is a 3 touchdown ish plus game. on paper. So, but you have to go do it. And like what makes you nervous, Woodman, about having to play these games is you've got a quarterback that's a bit compromised. Now he should be. I
Yeah.
think the week off probably helped him, but last time. Last time Texas Tech was in West Virginia, you had a quarterback in Tyler Shuck that just his ankle just gave away,
And then, yeah,
and then
hurt.
Baron Morton comes in
Yep.
and gets has an issue
Really
and
fast after he
yeah
came
played
in.
yeah played through it, but so that's kind and you were thrown into the end zone at the end of that game to try to win it and
Hmm.
couldn't get it done, but that was like you lost 20-13, I believe,
I believe that's the
uh,
case. Yeah.
in that game. So yeah, so that's what makes you nervous. If I'm hoping for stuff, you just hope that ideally you are in a position to just stop whatever they've got going on running the football like you have all year,
Yeah.
and that your ground game like Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams can
Sure.
be explosive, and you can bust a few plays and kind of make them play from behind
Yeah.
and force that quarterback to have to throw the football a bit, which he's comfortable doing at times, but he hasn't probably seen a pass rush like this before.
But level, I think one thing to note is every opportunity outside of the one in Arizona State with your backup quarterback, every time we've talked about potential trap games or hangover games or just pressure games in general, this mature group of players has delivered
Yeah.
and delivered in a big way. I mean, they've often left no doubt in these type of
Mhm.
games. So I think
And
that's
they
where
know
I
what's at
have
stake.
confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, they know the score literally, and I don't think anybody wants to back into this thing. I will
No.
say that you and I have talked about this. I think we talked about this in last week's episode.
Mhm.
I do think that it's stressful for fans, podcasters, and everybody else, but I do think that they're having to have the playoffs begin early for you because essentially right now you are playing for hardware from now here on out. Every
Sure you are.
game,
Sure.
every game that you have left to play, you're guaranteed 3 games essentially. The regular season, well, no, you're just guaranteed 2 games, I guess, because you're just guaranteed the regular season and
Right
one
now. Yep.
postseason right now. You've got to earn the right to play in the Big 12 title game and all that stuff. But the next 2 wins are massive in that
Hmm.
you're it's uncharted territory for you.
Yes.
And I think that you having to have that edge about you isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Again, it's not good for the person asking the question and like you and I, it's just like the stress and it's like, oh man, but because you're just always waiting for the rug to get pulled out or worst case scenario, this and that. But
Yeah.
it could benefit you in time because you just don't have a plan B here.
Right. Right. Just win, baby.
Yep.
Someone famous said that. All right.
In a
This one.
velour jumpsuit, he once said it with
Yes,
chains on his glasses.
that's right.
Yeah.
So, all right, level. This one's peeking ahead, but we can do that. Coaches and players can't. Lisa asked, "Do you prefer the home game or the first round bye if you got to pick?"
Well, I was interested. Joey McGuire was asked this question earlier in the week, and he kind of gave you a little look behind his psyche,
Hmm.
and I thought it was interesting. Okay, if I had to pick or got to pick, part of me, I'm to the point where if you win your next 2 games, whatever you want to dole out, man, I'm
That's where
okay
I'm
with.
at. Yep. Yeah.
Just let me know what's going on. I don't think you're going to necessarily get screwed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that you could get screwed if you lose, but that would be your fault.
Sure. Sure.
Um, I've said this repeatedly. I'm all about a home game. I think that sounds great. I
Hmm.
think Lubbock would burn. But I don't know if I'm near as excited about a home game if you're playing the Group of Five opponent. I'll just
Uh,
be honest.
I'm with you. Yep.
I think if you're playing the North Texas or a Tulane, I just think it's not the same as if A&M or Notre Dame or
Sure.
Miami or whatever you've seen projected coming here.
Absolutely.
So there's that. But Joey was pretty clear. He's like, I'd prefer a bye. It's one game less. I think it gives more time for his quarterback to heal up.
Yep.
I think he's looking at it from so there's that, and he's well aware, like everybody else is, the teams that had the buys last year all lost. But I think that's I don't know if that's going to be the norm or the exception. But yeah, but that's why I say whatever you're dishing out, man, I'm okay with. Just
Yeah.
win.
I mean, if you're 4, 5, or 6 in the final rankings and anywhere in there, you're in a pretty good spot.
I agree.
So,
Yep, I agree.
but you got to win 2 games in a row to get into one of
Yeah.
those spots. All right. You mentioned Joey McGuire. Marcus asked, "Will Joey McGuire be the Big 12 Coach of the Year this year?"
If I mean, well, whoever wins the Big 12 championship is probably going to be that. And for different reasons. Kalani Sitake deserves a great deal of credit because they were, most media, there wasn't a media poll, but most media
Right.
projections had them middle of the pack,
Right.
especially after they lose their quarterback.
Yep.
He has basically, back-to-back double-digit win seasons. I mean,
Hmm.
and everybody will talk, "Hey, you didn't play this team, it doesn't look this good," or whatever. They just keep winning. I mean, it's yeah, we said this before they played Texas Tech. They were 19-2 over their last 21 games.
Hmm.
Now what are they? 21-3?
21-3. Yeah.
I
Pretty
mean,
darn good. Good,
seriously.
good 2 season
Um,
stretch there.
and Joey, if you win it because you acclimated quickly, you did what many expected, and you weren't necessarily picked to win this thing. A lot of people are going to have convenient memories and suggest that, well, that's not what a lot of people wrote.
I think you were fourth or fifth in the preseason coaches
Coaches
poll.
poll,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
think
I mean,
so.
Arizona State was picked, Kansas State was picked by a lot, Utah was picked.
Yeah,
Yeah, Iowa State was picked. I saw a lot of Baylor love.
yep,
And so I think yeah, Joey deserves a tremendous amount of credit, but that may come down to
sure.
whoever wins this thing. And I would have no problem with that, and that's probably because there for a bit, Scott Satterwhite deserved a lot of credit. Willie Fritz deserved a lot of credit, but they've kind of lost a few, and yes,
Brent
probably been much better. Yeah, Brent
Brent
Brennan.
Brennan,
Yeah, I agree,
he's in
but.
that conversation. Yeah,
Yeah, but I can't give a Coach of the Year award to somebody that lost 3, 4, 5 games or whatever.
yeah, yep.
You know,
Understandable. All right, this one comes from Mike. Are we going to be able to keep Shield Wood in the LBK? Also, please confirm why the answer is yes.
working on it. Think he wants to be here. I don't think there's any. You never know how the carousel is going to affect
Right.
you. I would say that you're very naive if you don't think it won't affect you in some way.
Sure.
Um, but there are some pertinent pieces here that would involve your head coach, your coordinators, and your general manager that I think that the head coach is most concerned about as it relates to his own situation
Hmm.
and trying to ensure that those that you keep it together here. So yeah, being worked on is what I would tell you.
All right, last one. This one comes from David. Level, can you please explain the College Sports Commission and Texas Tech's stance on it like I'm a 5-year-old?
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. So the CSC is basically this arm that is not related to the NCAA that is in charge of policing NIL activities
Hmm.
and the like. And I think there was some miscommunication with Texas Tech signing a document and approving of this when really I don't think they are. I think that they're not allowed to based on state law.
Hmm.
Like they can't waive some of the rights that the CSC is asking them to waive,
Hmm.
i.e.
Because they're a state institution.
Yeah, and like there's some things that like, hey man, we're prohibited from like agreeing to this.
Hmm.
So there was some miscommunication, and I think that has been somewhat public. But yeah, that's the again, this is the arm that is supposed to police what's going on with NIL out there in the world, and basically they're asking people, hey, you're waiving the right to sue us if you don't like what happens, or if there's some discrepancy or some whatever. And basically, Texas Tech, I think, after longer thought, looked at it and goes, we can't agree to that. Like where we're located, our funding and all that, our state law won't allow us to agree to that. Sorry. So amend it,
Mhm.
tweak it, and we'll certainly approve of some of that if some aspects are amended. Hopefully, I did a good job of explaining that.
Yeah, I think that, and Texas Tech's been probably the most vocal with Cody Campbell leading the charge on that. But there's other schools out there that are also have issues with it. They're just not necessarily as public with those
Right.
issues. So,
Yeah, that's
so I
right.
think, yeah, I think there will be obviously some amendments there.
But in your with the portal window coming up and a lot of discussion about the house settlement and money being spent, just pay attention to what's going on here
Yes,
because if you've got to be in the weeds just a bit, but when you start seeing what some of these new coaches are being offered and the NIL pool being made available to
right,
you,
right.
the house settlement is offering some structure,
Hmm.
but you are allowed to play ball.
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way. Yeah,
And so I think Texas Tech and most others will continue to play ball.
yeah. There you go. One more question I forgot to ask you regarding West Virginia, because I believe you asked this question to Coach McGuire in the press conference this week. Weather, how do you think weather uh, is in effect? Because you haven't played any cold weather games, true cold weather games yet this year.
Yeah, as close as it was in Manhattan, Kansas, when the sun was behind the clouds, and it was like a 15-degree difference on the temperature, and it was chilly. I mean, it was, but this is, and I think you're gonna luck out here a bit. I don't think
Mhm.
there's a precip. I think it's just gonna be upper 30s, lower 40s. Mac Leftwich was like nothing will change from our play calling standpoint. But I do go back to reason I asked that question is Joey wants to build a team really to win games this time of year in this kind of weather. Run the ball, stop the run, play
True.
defense,
Yep.
that kind of thing. And you are, I think you're built to be able to do that. I don't think you're going to get any wind. The thing about Morgantown, it's a bit tricky. It's kind of like Florida in that the weather changes quickly. You always get something. I've been there with fog. I've been there with rain. I've been there with snow. I've been there with
Yeah.
beautiful sunny skies and no issue
Right.
whatsoever. So it's always, weather just kind of rolls through and then it's out. But it's just kind of like dreary and damp a lot of times. And so their cold feels differently than yours here in West Texas. So that's why I go back to being able to run the football, man. And if you
Yep.
could rewrite the script of 38-2 at halftime, like you did against UCF, I'm here for it. I would see that movie over again and be thrilled about seeing it.
I think I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
minus the two, but I'll give up
yeah.
a field goal instead of a safety. But yeah, that was pretty good. Level. You got basketball this week. Obviously, we got a trip to Morgantown. So good luck in your endeavors, and hopefully next week we get to talk new territory, Big 12 championship. It's the
Yeah,
hope.
well, in this case, hope is not a strategy. So let's just watch these guys go take care of business. And I would
Sure.
love nothing more than to talk about playing Arlington, Texas in a rematch or whatever is on tap for you. And I hope that Texas Tech fans, and I think they have done a good job of buying up a lot of those tickets
Yep.
because as soon as
Yeah.
BYU beat Cincinnati, I can promise you that those folks went to work purchasing whatever was
Scooped up. Yep.
made available. Yeah, so should potentially be quite the atmosphere, but you got to go take care of your business. So let's see what we get Saturday morning in Morgantown. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
Yes.
Get an extra helping of green bean casserole. Make sure you take the meringue off whatever pie anybody's trying to give
Nope.
you. It's
Give it to me.
terrible. And limit your cranberry intake. It's the weird, like, which one of these is not like the other? It doesn't belong in any out of the can. The real, I don't know what's going on there. I don't even know what a cranberry is. I don't know if I can go buy one at the store. It's just bizarre. So anyway, to each his own. But happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the parade Thursday morning. Snoopy was always the best float of mine as a
Agreed.
youngster. Yeah, and
Your first correct take on Thanksgiving, but
that's right. All right, we'll talk next time.
all right, that's Chris Level. I'm Chois Woodman. You've been tuned in to the Ask Level podcast, powered by the Double T Sports Network.
You've been listening to the Ask Level podcast, powered by the Double T Sports Network. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons for more great content from all of our shows on the Double T Sports Network.